YouTube channel. If it's not too much trouble, please subscribe. A South African actor brought into the world in Alexandra in the year 1974, Israal Matseke Zulu is known as far as concerns him and Gomorrah, the South African series. However, he transformed into another example on search not actually for this series, but rather for the news Israal Matseke Zulu passes on that arose. Starting there ahead, there have been many inquiries concerning his passing, some examining whether is Israal Matseke Zulu dead, and others really needing to understand what has been the deal with Israal Matseke Zulu. The news that Israal Matseke Zulu passed on emerged lately, and from there on out there has been clamor viewing this data, as nothing has been attested by experts concerning is Israal Matseke Zulu dead. Permit us to sort out what happened to Israal Matseke Zulu, and is Israal Matseke Zulu dead? Is Israal Matseke Zulu dead? No, Israal Matseke Zulu isn't dead. Similarly as other celebrities who were an overcomer of a death lie, Israal Matseke Zulu was furthermore caught in a passing trickery, wherein many sources communicated that Israal Matseke Zulu died, and this made an aggravation among lovers of this Gomorrah performer, who began contemplating is Israal Matseke Zulu dead. To be sure, it can now be cleared that Israal Matseke Zulu isn't dead anyway. Something is not quite right about Israal Matseke Zulu, which is one clarification. Passing tricks like Israal Matseke Zulu died and Israal Matseke Zulu fails miserably came up. The accompanying section will oversee what has been the deal with Israal Matseke Zulu. Israal Matseke Zulu dies. Hoax from the above fragment on is Israal Matseke Zulu dead. We understand that he is, believe it or not dead. However, obviously this isn't the point at which this performer initially has been reliant upon death tricks, and this isn't the underlying time news that Israal Matseke Zulu fails miserably or Israal Matseke Zulu dead is appearing. Truly, Israal Matseke Zulu himself has posted a tweet communicating the going with, as demonstrated by some Stafunga, I am dead again. Can't he? How frequently does one die? The post furthermore has a pennant of Daily Sun that states, Israel has been killed on different occasions, and an affirmation from Israal Matseke Zulu, communicating Votsek I'm not dead. What has been the deal with Israal Matseke Zulu? Anyway, it seems, by all accounts, to be that Israal Matseke Zulu has been reliant upon Israal Matseke Zulu kicked the pale lie n number of times. This time when people began contemplating is Israal Matseke Zulu dead, it was not without cause. What came to pass for Israal Matseke Zulu that made people wonder is Israal Matseke Zulu dead? Israal Matseke Zulu, who has communicated in the above region, is known for his work in Gomorrah, and the show killed him in November 2021. This caused a gigantic upheaval among him, all of whom felt that his passing was silly. His end in the show was in like manner, one inspiration driving why people began considering is Israal Matseke Zulu dead. Permit us to sort out why Israal Matseke Zulu was killed in Gomorrah and why he expected to leave the show. Why did Israal Matseke Zulu leave Gomorrah? Israal Matseke Zulu was recently known as Israal Mako Zulu, began his livelihood as a performer when he in jail, where he formed an assembly hall pack called Abakobi Drama Group. The fundamental play that he created and facilitated was Hey Kabi Majanj. When he was liberated from prison, he had the potential chance to work I Amazing Experts, and this achieved him landing the position in Gomorrah, which was a colossal hit among fans. Anyway, he was killed in the show in November 2021, and he had placed out a declaration on his Instagram post about something almost identical. The statement begins like this: the realities affirm that I not set in stone to have an affliction, which truly influenced the working of my legs, making trying for me to walk properly and function admirably on set during the shooting. This is what come upon Israal Matseke Zulu, and consequent people began contemplating is Israal Matseke Zulu dead? To get more updates on is Israal Matseke Zulu and what happened to Israal Matseke Zulu, keep yourself related with this page. Thanks for